Our next guest is an Emmy-winning, Oscar and Tony-nominated actor you know from shows like Euphoria and Fear the Walking Dead, as well as films like The Color Purple and Rustin. He stars in and executive produced Sing Sing, which is currently playing in New York and LA and nationwide in August. Let's take a look.
It's been a program that was established to help the population with management skills, and it's turned into something a bit more, wonderful, because it helps people get more in touch with their feelings and able to process and actually move through and truly get some rehabilitation.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
Absolutely not. I truly hope that you can understand that I've been very sincere.
Please welcome to the show, Colman Domingo, everyone. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here, man.
You were at the ESPYs this week.
I was.
Did you enjoy your time at the ESPYs?
I had a good time, but I was a little disappointed.
How so?
Because I thought these players, you know, these tall basketball players and sports figures would up their game when it comes to the fashion.
Yeah.
Because I watch them when they're coming out. And
Yeah, of course.
They're
When they walk to games now, they're incredible outfits.
Oh, yeah, they didn't do that.
Really?
No. They didn't bring that.
And they didn't tell you
No,
because you brought it.
I brought all of that.
Look at that. I mean,
I thought it was game day.
Yeah,
You know, I thought that were really going to up their game.
now I will say I have seen you at red carpets for Hollywood. You bring your game everywhere.
I tried to.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is low-key game.
This is very low key.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, even then, I feel like I'd be like, oh, I'm in my nicest tuxedo, and then I see you, and I'm like, I didn't know you were allowed to do that. This is a fantastic film. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this is based on a real-life program where people who are incarcerated. It's called Rehabilitation Through the Arts?
Yeah, it's called RTA, Rehabilitation Through the Arts, and they founded it at Sing Sing Prison. And it's a cool program because it really does give people such great life skills by doing plays. And so that's cool. You know, anybody who's been in theater, high school theater, whatever, you know that it builds all these different things that you need. You can, get in touch with your feelings. You have to be responsible to the group. You have to show up on time, all that stuff. But this is proven to have these guys who go through this program, it helps them when they get on the outside. So much, in fact, that it has a 3%, you hear me, 3% recidivism rate. So it works.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
One of the most spectacular things about the film, and I said this to you backstage, I went into it knowing that a lot of the cast, almost all of the cast, outside of yourself, are former members of this program.
Absolutely. They all went through this program, and that was the most beautiful thing about this film. Was like, I was going to be side by side with people who actually had this life experience. And this has really changed their lives, and they feel like they're able to be back out in the communities, serving the communities and healing them as well, knowing that, and many times that folks have caused harm. So they actually are purposeful with this. So it's beautiful. And my co-stars are fantastic, in particular, Clarence Macklin. Remember I told you this name.
Yeah.
That brother is so cool. He's my co-star.
Amazing.
He's a cool guy.
It's fascinating as well because, the point of the program is not to turn them into professional actors.
No, they weren't trying to be actors.
Yeah.
No, they were just trying, it was this program on the inside.
And so now they're in this film and do you, at any point during these scenes, were you thinking like, why did I study acting? Because they're so much better.
Well, it's funny. We came together to teach each other things. You know what I mean? Like what they didn't know, they had great instincts for. So people were like, "Oh, what did you learn from them? What did they learn from you?" We learn from each other. But you always when you go into any production, you sort of have a brain trust. You bring in whatever special superhero skills you got, whatever you learned. My original skills come from the circus, so I bring that too. I bring a sense of fun and play. I
want to ask about this circus thing because I did read that you were a performer in a political circus.
Why did I bring that up? Why did I bring that up?
You said you opened the circus door. Usually when people get out of the circus, they never bring it up again.
I'm like,
Was it that circus?
No, it wasn't Ringling Brothers. It was something called Make a Circus.
Make a Circus.
Make a Circus, which was in San Francisco, and it was a political children's circus.
Okay.
Because it was San Francisco, of course, right? So, but what's cool was that, like, I played this character who was like sowing seeds of disinformation and, you know, telling lies, and I grew in power. Sounds familiar? I grew in power. And then they all found out that it was me, and then they basically like stripped me down, and you found out that I was an evil salamander monster.
Wow.
And then I would do things, I would like run around, and they would juggle trying to get me, and then I would tumble, and then I would eventually climb up the aerial web, which was my specialty. So that long rope that goes up high, and then I would swing around,
So you could actually, you actually had that skill.
Yeah, I actually
Gotcha.
do. Not
Okay.
anymore, though.
Yeah, not anymore.
I need my bones. right.
You try to have the realization it's not for you anymore when you're not at the top of the rope.
Yeah.
You want to find out at the bottom.
When I was on the
before-
way down, I was like, I think I'm good.
That might be my last
But I was
time.
also like 22 years old. You know?
Okay, yeah,
You do
that's
things like
that's
that.
a good time to be in a political circus.
Right.
Now, were kids at the political circus ever super bummed out that there weren't like elephants?
I don't know what they thought, that we did like, we were more like clowns and we didn't have any animals or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it was a bummer because it was like, maybe it wasn't a good circus. I think it's actually really good. But man,
I'm sure it was a good circus. I'm sure. Back to the film, you play Divine G, the character you play, real person.
Yeah.
Who then was in the film, did a cameo.
Yeah.
So had to basically interact with you as them. How was that moment?
Okay, it was fun for me. For him, he was a little nervous at first, and he was just, I think it just meant the world to him. The idea of someone, this guy sitting across from you, playing you, and telling you a lot of your story. So he was a little nervous in the scene. At some point, I was just like, brother, this is all you. Let this be conversational. It's an honor to be here with you. And he just smiled, and he was like, and then he did the scene. He's like, how was that? Was that good? I was like, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. He's a very sweet guy. Yeah.
He's also a producer on the film, so
Yeah.
he wasn't just there for that day.
No, he was there every day.
watching.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe he's nervous in that moment with you, but were you ever seeing it through his eyes, knowing that you're telling the story? And did it ever make you nervous?
It did make me nervous from time to time, but I knew that I just wanted to get his spirit right. And also, I was really sort of taking a lot of him, but making him an everyman in some way. That's what you have to do, so you can divorce yourself from that subject and make it sort of live larger and sort of fit into a 100-minute film. You can't just be beholden to all his intricacies. But I found a lot, though. You know, just observing people, that's what we do. So I picked up different things, the way he would hold his glasses, or the way he would hold his hands, or the way he would, I don't know, take over and become the leader in many ways. Just in a conversation, you're like, oh, this guy, he will also say, I know a little bit more about this, let me help out, which is cool. So I started to use that in the film.
Obviously, you know, this is a film that takes place during, you know, a dark time with a lot of the characters' lives.
Yeah.
There's so much joy, though. There's so much optimism in this film. And I think at times like these, it's really special to have art like this. Obviously, it was important to keep it light on set as well. I have a video. This is you just dancing on set. Was this something that you felt called on to do, or?
It's just me being an idiot.
Okay. I wish I could be an idiot at this level of skill. Let's take a look at Coleman.
Spin on your back. Spin on your back. I ain't doing all that. I ain't doing all that. You all smiling. You all. Oh! Oh!
I've certainly, I've got introduced to you as a performer with some pretty heavy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Euphoria, The Color Purple. Every time I've been lucky enough to interact with you personally, I certainly know there's a lot more light in you than sometimes we see, which is why I'm so happy you're about to start shooting with Tina Fey, Steve Carell, a series of 4 seasons.
Oh, man.
It's the break you deserve.
It's
the break you deserve.
I get to wear sweaters and I get to wear sweaters and look cute and talk about lighthearted things and maybe cook a meal.
Yeah.
But have some fun with those guys.
There
and
you go.
I'm working with the best of the best. They're incredible comedians and human beings, and I think we're gonna have a good time. I'm ready for some lighthearted things.
And again, like I said, while I've enjoyed everything you've done, I
Some
also
heavy lifting,
it's time for you to have some fun too.
Yeah, thank you.
What a delight to have you here. It's so great to get you on the show. Thank you so much, Coleman. Congrats on the film. Coleman Domingo.